Bonjour, je m'appelle Charles Fleischer. Welcome to Sir. What? In English? Okay, I can do English. Hey, hi, I'm Charles Fleischer. Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show. She's the lady wearing the blue dress. She has some little flowers in the background. I don't see any paintings on your wall. Unless that's a painting of a light. That'd be a nice idea. Hi, Sarah. Are we on now? Is this part of the show, or have we begun?
This is the whole thing. Yeah.
Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Charles Fleischer, welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show. How are you today?
I'm good. Congratulations on having your own show. That's pretty impressive. Across the pond, too. You're across the pond, as they say.
I am indeed, and I am beyond delighted to have you on my show today. Now, I'd love to go through your entire career, starting at the very beginning. So originally, you actually studied medicine, didn't you? And then you transitioned over
to not officially. I wanted to be a doctor, but I never really studied medicine. However, I am a scientist, and I have studied many things and have made discoveries, and I have paper on Cornell University website. I have a couple patents. I am a scientist, but I don't usually admit it so soon.
So do you still practice science? Are you still trying to unlock and discover the mysteries of the universe?
Unquestionably. I'm working on a lot of my projects are things that will continue long after I leave this place. So yeah, moleads and my gamma ray burst theory, that's something I'm actively pursuing.
You got into stand-up comedy. Can you tell me what your first gigs were like when you got up on stage?
Well, I first did something akin to stand-up when I was 9 years old at summer camp, Camp Kiwani. And they had like talent kind of things, and I did bits. I did some Jonathan Winters bits that he'd done, and then I made up some of my own stuff. And then years later, at Southampton College, which is the place where the Titanic was. And so Southampton, it was during the summer, and there was a club called Cat Ballou. And I went there wanting to do stand-up. I'd never really done it in a club before. And there was a musical act that was playing. And I'd spoken to them, and I jammed with this musical artist before I went on playing my harmonica, and I kind of won the crowd over, and then I did really well. And I went back the next night, and there was no musical act there, and it was a diminished crowd, and I experienced pretty much the opposite of doing really well. So within a 2-day parameter, I experienced the ups and downs of show business. Now there's no place to do stand-up because of COVID. I should have probably put my mask on. I didn't even ask you.
I think it's safe. You're probably fine.
Well, these new computers. Oh, okay. Well, digital, that's going to be digital. They have viruses. It's going to get everybody somewhere.
It's true. They have antivirus software, though, so hopefully we'll be okay.
Yeah, and the rumor was for years that the viruses, computer viruses, were started by people that were soon to sell antivirus software. That's good marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. In the 1970s, you played Carvelli in Welcome Back, Kotter, and it was filmed before a live studio audience. It was a sitcom, and it was a lot of fun to watch. But is there more pressure on you performing in front of a live studio audience in that way when you're acting, or does it make the whole experience more fun?
Oh, I loved it. I love an audience. It's just, but when you do a film, there's no audience, so it's another level of performance. But when you're geared to work in front of a crowd, you have to play off the laughter. You wait for your laugh, but it's like doing theater.
The only thing my show needs now is an audience.
Yeah, I studied acting at the Goodman Theater in Chicago.
Yeah.
And that was very helpful to me in preparing myself for this business.
So did you want to go into theatre or anything like that, or was the goal to get into film or TV when you first started?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to, do stand up and be an actor, kind of what I am.
I want to talk to you too about the original Nightmare on Elm Street. You played a doctor who was a specialist in sleep disorders.
Dr. King.
Dr. King, yes. What was Wes Craven like to work with? And also, I'm very much an insomniac, so as a professional sleep expert, have you got any advice for me to get more sleep?
Well, did you ask me what Wes Craven was like to work with first?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do a two-part response. Sure. Wes Craven was extraordinary. I worked with him also in a movie called Deadly Friend, which I did the voice of the robot. A robot, which is, I believe, a Czech word or Czech Republic now. Anyways, from a science fiction book. And I've had the pleasure of working with extraordinary directors, Wes Craven, Bob Zemeckis, David Fincher. Come on, you know, I tell you. And as far as sleep, I don't usually go to bed till dawn.
Me too.
Yeah, I had to set my alarm to get up to talk to you. Not that that's the problem. I'm delighted. Well, sleep is, see, when I'm awake, I'm into being awake. Like, this is extraordinary. Then when I'm sleeping, I'm in this other world. Like, wow, this is great. I think I'll stay here. I recorded my dreams as well. You know, like a dream diary. You wake up, and I usually use a tape recorder for that because it makes it easier right when you wake up. And if something happens in the middle of the night, you can leave a little night note. But yeah, I enjoy the process of waking, sleeping, and the transition is interesting too. When I'm going to go to sleep now. Okay, what do? Well, close your eyes. Okay, and then what? Just breathe. All right, I'm breathing. I'm still awake. What is up? What do? Turn the pillow to the cold side. Roll over. All right, I'm still awake. All right, I'll trust you. Guess I'll fall asleep eventually, maybe. Anyways.
How did you first get involved with Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Was there an audition process? Did you send a tape in? How did you get involved?
It was through my stand-up. Bob Zemeckis had seen me do stand-up at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. And they brought me in to help them audition the Eddie Valiant character. So Ed Harris, James Wood, several different actors, you know, they would do their lines. I was off camera doing Roger Rabbit. And after several of those, Zemeckis asked me if I wanted to go to England for a couple of months to film the movie. And I said, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you find the voice? Because you did several voices in the film, obviously, but how did you find Roger? Did you sort of come up with one and then see what the cast and crew thought of it, or how did you find it?
Well, no, it's based on any character that you develop is based on what they say and what they do. You know, who is this character? But with a cartoon or an animated character, the size is an appropriate method of determining what the voice would be based on just pitch, you know. If the character's really big, it would be long. If he's little, it'd be smaller. And it was kind of a cross between John Huston and a couple other things. And then they wanted speech impediment. And they're talking about having it whistle, and then I came up with the which is kind of based on, I used to do an impression of a flying saucer landing on a horse, which was, and I kind of was inspired to do the cheek flutter from the Bowery Boys. I think it was Satchela. He used to go, and I thought, well, I can mix that with the thing. And then they wanted me to possibly do the Spanish or French versions for the movie. And I even auditioned with it, you know, s'il vous plaît. Por favor. But apparently there's some kind of a regulation where the person who does that has to be indigenous to the country that it's being done for.
So when this kind of the speech impediment thing came up, would that be indicated in the script, or would you just put it in where you felt it played naturally?
Well, I could only put it in where he said please, but I throw that in. And Richard Williams, the animator, genius guy, English chap, quite nice, very nice man. Good horn player as well. They actually filmed me, a videotape so they could see proper way to animate, so that Roger would be able to facilitate that through the use of ink and paint.
Amazing, because I have one of Richard Williams' animation books because I studied animation at university, and I actually had Don Hahn on my show a few weeks ago as well, which was fun.
She's a very good artist too. His oil paintings are extraordinary.
Yeah, I completely agree. And he has a book out, and I love all of his artwork and the stuff he's worked on as well. So we had a lot of fun talking about Roger Rabbit, and I thought I have to get you on the show as well.
Hopefully I will inspire you to get someone else on.
Absolutely.
We should get Frank Maschnoodle. Oh yeah, you get him.
I'm going to get the guy that does Benny the Taxi Cab next, I think. I love him too.
Or two of the Weasels. Originally that was Lou Rawls did Benny the Cab.
Oh, really?
Yeah. After the primary photography was finished, Zemeckis asked me if I wanted to do that. I said, okay.
When the film was being shot, obviously the animation wasn't there, so Bob Hoskins was performing to an empty room, but you're actually in the room too, weren't you? Did that help with his performance? Because I've seen shots of you dressed up as Roger Rabbit kind of in the background. And did that kind of help? Because I assumed when I watched the film originally that Bob would have been performing to a recording.
It was important for me to be there primarily because they had to get the voice recorded with the on-camera people, and then that was shipped off to animation right away.
Right, okay.
Secondarily, it gave me a chance to interact with what was going on, and I developed what I began to call trans-projectional acting, whereby I was someplace off camera in my own little area watching everything that happened. So if Hoskins would yank my ears, I would react to that. So I would project myself into the space in front of him. And he later came to say that it really helped that I wore a costume because it helped him to visualize it.
I'm right in understanding it was filmed in England?
Bournemouth, yeah.
Bournemouth. Okay.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah.
And we were there one day, and it was, I heard these people, I think it was from Superman was filming there. And it's going to say, Roger Rabbit, I saw the guy playing the rabbit. Doesn't look anything like a rabbit.
So I guess that would have been Superman 4?
I don't know. Could have been Superman 2. I have no idea. I think Willow was also being filmed there.
Oh, wow. So there was loads of massive productions happening at the same time. Did the other productions come to visit the set of Roger Rabbit?
If they did, I didn't know. It was pretty much closed set kind of deal.
Right. The author of the books, Gary K. Wolfe, has continued to write them up until now. I believe he's working on a new one. If they ever did a Roger Rabbit sequel, would you love to return to it?
You kidding? They tried it many times, but it's been 30 years or something. It's kind of doubtful, but you never know. You never say no. But it would be problematic probably because it's part Disney and part Amblin. So there's who knows, but you never know. They had a great script and Zemeckis wanted to do it, but once there's never been an E.T. sequel either. So.
Very true.
So they could combine the two, Roger and E.T. I think Roger and Space or Roger versus Aliens would be
I'd watch
great.
that.
Yeah, I'd book that now. Book it. Book that one, definitely.
In space, no one can hear you say please.
Exactly. Space, no one can see you tune. But we're in space right now. We're just on the surface of a spinning rock going about 66,000 miles an hour, orbiting.
Very true. Getting a free ride around the sun every year.
Oh, well, free for you, maybe. Now, human nature is odd because, you know, we're going zooming, and sometimes the audible is not that clear. So I go closer. Like, that's going to make a difference. But maybe, you know, closer to my speaker to indicate to you, like, what did you say? I think she said something about the artichokes. Artichokes? I don't want any vegetables. Just shut up and eat your broccoli, clown.
So did you keep any props or souvenirs from any of the films that you worked on?
I have the ears that I wore on set. That's probably it. And other things, probably not, because if I did have them, I would probably not admit it because I would have gotten them through means that are not necessarily ethical. I do have the Maltese Falcon, and I have Indiana Jones whip, but I was cut out of all those films. Damn it. I better say, just in case people are watching or something saying, he wasn't in those movies. No, it wasn't in them. He watched them. Oh, I get it. It's a visual souvenir. He watched the films. It became attached to his cerebellum. Cheer up, Sarah.
Cheer up.
Blue is a very good color for you. Blue.
Blue, do you think? Does it suit me? Does it suit my complexion?
Well, it doesn't look that complex, but
it's true. No,
nice.
I'm not that complex. So you appeared in Back to the Future 2 as Harry the mechanic. Was it fun to visit the past and the future on, I guess, the Universal backlog?
Terry, it was just working with Bob Zemeckis is always an honor, and you know, it's good for residuals too. Polar Express.
Very true. Incidentally, I noticed in the background I revisited loads of films, Nightmare on Elm Street and all that good stuff, and in the background of Back to the Future Part 2 in an antique shop, there is a Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, it's a Roger Rabbit doll.
Yeah.
Definitely. And also there's in that area there's a movie theater that says Jaws 13 or something, directed by Max Spielberg, which is Steven's son.
Very true. And I'm still waiting for that film. It sounds amazing.
Oh, well, the future has arrived, but I'm not wearing shades. Reference to Timbuk 3, I think, was the name of that group. Is that correct?
Very true, yeah. Classic song. And so obviously you've done tons of other voices for movies such as Rango and Polar Express. You got a favourite one looking back that you really enjoyed working on?
I don't know, how can you top Roger Rabbit as far as voices, but as far as just being in films, as I mentioned, David Fincher's Zodiac. I'm really proud of my work in that. And I did, most people don't know this because it's not credited, I did a voice in there too, where I think Melvin Belli's on a TV show and somebody calls in from a mental institution about having headaches. And that was me.
Oh, wow. So you're in the film twice. Yeah, because Zodiac is such a dark film and dark, gritty film. Would you love to do more stuff like that? Are there any genres of films that you haven't done yet that you'd like to explore?
Sure. I mean, I love working and I love, being an actor. I like playing things that aren't, toony. I mean, I love both. It's like what we were saying before about waking, sleeping, I don't want to be awake all the time because I'll be too tired. I don't want to sleep all the time because I'll be in a coma. So it's duality. So I'll get to play, silly little monkey. Then I get to play, troubled, psychotic individual. And, sometimes they meet in the middle for a nap.
And so have you got any advice for anyone that wants to get into stand-up comedy? Because obviously you have a massive career in that as well.
Advice?
Yeah.
Well, cure COVID first because you need an audience. But I just thought of something because when we're awake, we take a little nap sometimes, right?
True.
But when we're dreaming, there's nothing equivalent to a nap where you're just like, I guess maybe it's just waking up to go to the bathroom. That could be like the nap, a nappy.
So yeah,
My
I
head is
guess.
nappy and I nap and pee. It's not the same, but it was a good attempt at analogous conceptual thinking.
I think so.
ACT, ACT. Analogous conceptual thinking. There you are. Grassman and the Brooknode. By the way, I have been moderating my languages to not use any profanity or anything, but considering it is internet, I imagine you could say
Yeah,
any.
you can say any word. I think.
I'll keep it clean in case the kiddies is watching.
Okay. Depends who I'm talking to, I guess. No, every word is welcome.
I can work in a crowd. I can work little children, or I can work bikers or mental patients, waiters, anything. I can adapt. I'm an adapter.
That's my
Not
exact
like
audience.
a USB. Even though I am universal, I'm not serial. I'm more linear and a bowl.
Now, in 2009, you starred in Judd Apatow's Funny People. How did you get involved with that? Did you know him before working on the production? Judd is a friend of the show as well.
Judd Apatow booked me doing stand-up comedy, back when he was in college when he was out here. And I was in Long Island once, and he interviewed me. I was doing a club out there, and he came and interviewed me. He was just like some comedy kid in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So did you keep in touch all that time afterwards, or reconnect?
Not in the way that would be indicated if I were in a lot more of his films. That would be more of a keeping in touch, however. But Adam Sandler I knew from, stand-up.
Right.
But not in the capacity where I would have been in more of his films. If I, really kept up.
So far, you may well be in many more of his films.
You never know. I'm open, and all we need is like the industry to go back.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
there is no
hopefully that's going to happen soon.
There's no performance. There's no, if production comes back and they're real careful on the set, well, then what do they do if if the second lead gets COVID? Then they got to shut down production. It's an amazing thing. It's my first pandemic. You too?
Yeah, first pandemic, totally, yeah.
And what a virus is really, it's science fiction. It's not really alive. It's just this little protein shell with some nucleic acid in it. It could be DNA, RNA, single or double strand. That's it. There's no moving parts. It can't reproduce by itself. But it gets to your body, and it has these receptors that go to a place in your lungs. Like, there's a consciousness there. It's not traceable or active, but there's some kind of a viral consciousness. It evolves, and it's like they hack into your body. They go into your cells, use the systems in your own cells, and make it work for them. I mean, hello, security. Can we get a security on this? Well, we have our antibodies. We're doing, if you weren't eating that crap food, you may have had better resistance. But who knows what it is? It's science fiction.
I think sometimes a virus is only as successful is the wrong word, but it only spreads as much as the carefulness of the host that it's occupying. So if people are covering up and wearing masks and stuff like that, and social distancing, then it's harder for it to spread, and it's not clever enough to trick us not to do that. But
I got 2 words for you. New Zealand.
yes.
Land of the long white cloud. And it's run by a woman. I think most of the places that are run by women are doing well. I think women they're better suited to run things just based on perhaps their genetic makeup, or that they have the potential to be mothers. I don't know. Just saying, look around.
I agree. There's no COVID-19 in this house at all.
None?
None. I've checked.
Well, Have you looked in that little jar?
That's the fact, yeah. The one labeled COVID-19. I haven't looked in that. I've looked everywhere but that jar.
It almost sounds like a David Bowie song, like TVC 15 COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID. It's just a tiny bug. It's on your arms. Sorry.
One of
I
his
do.
best
I
songs.
do. I love David Bowie.
Yes.
He's
He's amazing.
safe in the city, asleep in a doorway. Or we'll buy some drugs and watch a band and jump in the river holding hands. Man, that's some poetry there, bro. It's a good line, David. Write some more like that, bro.
I was delighted to recently see Pop Culture on Disney Plus.
Oh, on the Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan Lanigan, the host and
Yes.
creator, he's a great guy. I'm working with him on possibly doing something. I can't talk about it,
Oh, really?
but I'll just give him a plug because he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's
And
very
so,
smart.
how long ago did you film that? Because obviously, I think it was released after the pandemic all kind of happened and lockdown and everything.
Well, because of my frequency with time travel, I haven't filmed it yet. But you've seen it because in your alternate universe, I have filmed it. It was about a year ago.
Can you tell me what you're working on next? Obviously, things are difficult at the moment because everything is delayed and pushed back.
Well, yeah, as far as that goes, I'm doing a lot of artwork, which I always do. Have you ever seen my artwork?
No, I must see it. I must check it out and look it up. What kind of art do you painting?
Go to my Instagram. I have a need to express myself in modality. Did you find me on Instagram?
Yeah. Oh, so is it all kind of pencil drawings, like coloured pencil?
There's maybe some colored pencil. A lot of it is, I go from watercolor to digital to paint to mixed media.
Wow.
Because I have a lot of sketchbooks, when you're on the road or doing conventions or something, you're sitting there. So I got my sketchbook and I'm filling them up. And then sometimes I'll transfer those to digital and work on it some more. And I've had some pieces evolve over years. So you're following me on Instagram now?
I am now, yes. I'm following you on the holy internet trinity of social media websites.
Fantastic.
So exciting. And I'm loving your artwork. And anyone watching this, I highly recommend you go check it out.
This isn't live, this show. We're not
Nice.
going. So when you do production, you can put a little car on at the bottom with my Instagram thing, and maybe I get more followers or something. I don't know. It seems so silly. I'll have more followers than you. Is that helpful? Well, it makes me money. Okay, it's helpful.
So can you tell me a fun fact about you, something you may not know?
How fun do you want it to be? Let's see.
About an 11
Well,
hour.
I have a paper on the Cornell University website, which to be on that site, you need to have your paper endorsed by a scientist in your field. And it's on the origin of gamma ray bursts, the largest display of energy in the universe.
Where did gamma ray bursts originate?
Oh, well, they say they're random, but the hypothesis that I have arrived at based on my mathematical research is that they are not random. And it is a form of communication.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Yes.
And so is it the universe communicating? Or is it
that's an interesting question. So is it, as far as my mathematical proof, I think I can successfully prove that they're not random. However, that doesn't necessarily mean, well, are they produced by some sentient being, or is it just a manifestation of some universal twist or some giant space worm that, is flatulent, and every time it releases something that's a gamma ray burst. But to me, it seems like there's an intelligence. Like, Fermi's paradox, if they're aliens are there, then how come we haven't heard from them? Well, maybe we have. And we send out radio signals, but radio signals are way on the low end of the electromagnetic spectrum, whereas gamma is at the very top, the shortest wave. So it would make sense to me anyways to communicate using gamma ray bursts.
And so do gamma ray bursts travel at the same speed as light, which is the speed limit of the universe? Is that do they travel faster than radio waves?
That's what they say. Yeah, and gamma ray bursts are 4 times more likely to pass through a galaxy than they are through, let's say, a quasar. And they don't know why, but in my estimation, if I'm correct about my hypothesis, gamma ray bursts are designed to go towards galaxies because that's where life would be. So,
is there, getting really into gamma ray bursts now, it interests me too, but is there a pattern to these bursts, or are they random? Is there like a sequence that you might be able to decipher some kind of Morse code or other patterns?
Boy, you're very brilliant. I will tell you that, because it is kind of like a cosmic Morse code. There's many ways that you could decipher information in just one gamma ray burst, depending on the way that it dissipates and falls down to other levels of electromagnetic radiation. However, the methodology I use, because we know the exact date and location of each gamma ray burst that we have seen since we discovered them, we can then connect them linearly. So I connected 8. I used 8 because of the octave and because of Murray-Gell-Mann and other reasons. And then I examined the angles created by connecting 8 consecutive bursts and found that they all tended to be smaller angles, which related to Mole's, which is my mathematical formula I've been working on for a long time. I have a TED talk about that. So in addition to the angles, I found that some bursts were equidistant from other bursts within the same group of 8. And then I found, after my paper, my addendum, 3 sequential groups of 8. And each of them had in it 3 bursts that were equidistant, which creates an equilateral triangle. This is in these supposedly random things occurring all over the visible universe. And then in all 3, and the triangles were shaped and aligned in a certain way. And then when you put all 3 of them, all 3 burst together, all of those, the 3 groups of 8, you get an appearance of 2 more equilateral triangles, which to me is a startling display of non-randomness. But that's, time will tell. And if I can get to the place where I can prove with more formidable backup that they are indeed a form of communication, the next big step is, well, what are they saying? It's like, I found the Rosetta Stone, but now I have to translate it.
So you know that patterns form in nature, so like a spider web or a honeycomb or anything like that. But there was some kind of, I don't know, invisible force, gravity, or dark matter, or something like that was happening locally in that region. Could that set them all off at the same time and then form a massive cosmic pattern in the sky?
I don't dismiss anything at this point. However, as far as the patterns that you mentioned, spider web, and certainly the golden ratio is a very important factor in development of physical beings. Our body is, filled with golden ratio, and one of my patented inventions is a device that measures golden ratio.
Wow.
So, but this seems to me more like a language, and if you were an alien, and we are in some sense, what would your language be? And it seems that mathematics and certainly geometry is very visual, and that would be, a way to understand it. And I've always had a propensity to be attracted to otherworldly things. I always loved aliens, and when I watched monster movies, I, kind of rooted for the monster. I always liked the monsters and other worlds. And if you look at a lot of my artwork, a lot of it is otherworldly. In a way, I consider myself to be an ancient futurist. It's not a new concept, but every atom in your body was created in a star somewhere.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and depending on what kind of star would determine which element would be produced by it more likely. And Mars is smaller than Earth, so it would have cooled much quicker. And there's a lot of people that theorize that perhaps there was life on Mars and something happened there. I want David Bowie reference. This is all. It's a colorful small affair. The girl with the nose hair. But so if that was true, then it's possible that on Mars one day when we get there, we will find something akin to a seed repository. We have that here on Earth. I think it's in Iceland or maybe Norway. It's an underground cave. And they have, it's just a giant warehouse of seeds. It's kind of like a Noah's Ark of botanical information. It just seems that there are certain things that intelligent beings do. And whether that be universal or not, who knows? Another thing I love about the concept of extraterrestrial life is what would their culture be like? Was there the Beatles there, or Bach, or religion, or just all of those factors? It's just hopefully in my lifetime, I figure I'm gonna figure this out. That way I can get myself a Nobel Prize.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm working on all that stuff in the background too. Although potentially at a slower rate than you.
Well, rather than go for conflict, I welcome your research.
Thank you very much. There may not be much of it.
Well, it's all incremental.
This is true. You see,
Much of it.
I love stuff like the idea that the stars are furnaces that essentially create every single atom in the universe, as you said. And I read this thing once that basically suggested that we are obviously made up of star stuff and bits of the universe, but we, humans and animals, are the universe experiencing itself.
There's certainly some truth to that, because it's all, in Hebrew, there's a little prayer, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Ahud, which means, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. One. So it's all one. I don't want to go like into deep religion stuff, because that will bring about duality, but it should bring about unity, shouldn't it? Unity, the oneness of all, and just everything it's all made of the same stuff, as you said.
I think if we all work together rather than apart, the world and everyone else can just get that much better and have much better lives.
But then again, you have to understand that there are the dynamics that bring about duality and conflict are intrinsic to our being. And they are, what is it, Dawkins, I think is his name. He's a pretty staunch atheist, but he has a thing called a meme, which is, I think, before the meme of internet memes. And it's a propensity, it's kind of like a gene manifest on a social level. So if a group of people have this concept of like, sex is bad, no sex, that will die out because they won't be able to reproduce. My favorite illustration of that concept is outside of England, before the Industrial Revolution, there were these white birch trees. And there was a species of moth, some were black and some were white. So when the black moths landed on the white tree, they were easily spotted by birds. Oh, I just had lunch. How about from an English bird? No, I flew from America. So then came the Industrial Revolution, and all the pollution from the revolution began to change the solution. So the white birch tree started turning dark and blackened by the soot and refuse particulate. And then all of a sudden, black moths say, yo, this is cool, bro. And the white moths are like, damn, right? Oh, Shonda just got eaten by a bird. So, environmental things can shift, and that will allow, a certain group of people to. But I am ultimately an optimist as opposed to an optometrist, which would be good if I was a visionary.
Finally, have you got any messages for people watching the Sarah O'Connell show and your fans around the world?
Oh, I just say, hey, thanks, and hope to see you one day. And if you like mole leads or gamma ray bursts or golden ratio, and you're fascinated by the unknown, that's like a big thing for me. I'm all show business too, but I'm hooked up. Scientists are my rock star heroes. Science.
Charles Fleischer, it's been an absolute delight and a treat talking to you today and talking about some of your amazing career. Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you, and for saying my name correctly. Because a lot of people go, Charles Fleischer, Charlie Fleischer, Fleischer. It's Fleischer. Fleischer. F-L-E-I, that'd be fly, as opposed to I-E, which would be like Riemann, like Riemann hypothesis. The Riemann hypothesis, by the way, I found a non-scientific proof for it. It involves the golden ratio. It's deep stuff about deep mathematical imaginary numbers, or e to the I pi take away 1 equals 0. Do you know that Euler's thing? E, the letter E is a numerical constant. It's like 2, 7, 8, and I is the imaginary number, the square root of -1, and everybody knows pi. So E to the power of I pi plus 1 equals 0. I mean, for a cat to come up with that, man, Euler. Hats off to that Euler guy. If anybody knows Euler's friends or whatever, hook that up. If you like that formula, hey, follow me on Instagram too, because I'm an internet hoe. Ho. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been so much fun talking to you. And thank you to everybody watching at home. Be sure to share, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave lots of lovely comments. I'll see you all again soon for another episode of the Sarah O'Connell Show. Bye.
Bye. You're going to be international huge.
Thank you.
Because you're really smart and you listen, and that's have it right there.
That means the world to me, honestly. I've loved your work my entire life, genuinely. I remember going to see You Framed Roger Rabbit when I was a kid, and I also watched Nightmare on Elm Street when I was a kid because my auntie let me, and I've loved all of your work ever since, and I'm genuinely so happy to have you on my show. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I don't usually do these, pod things, but something by you that was special, so I said, I'm going to do that for her. My name is Charles Fleischer. Cheapest, I've heard that name before. I don't know what that voice was. Please. That's a mystery. But anyways, I and perhaps things that I know about will be on, what's it called? Sarah O'Connell. You sure? I think it's Sarah O'Connell. Right, it's Sarah O'Connell. It's the Sarah O'Connell show. I think that's it. Yeah, I'm going to be on that. So, internet it.